God has a plan for you. Introduction. Welcome to LinguaSync. I am Jamie Walker, and I want to begin by reminding you that if you are listening to this episode, it is not a coincidence. Perhaps you clicked play out of curiosity, or maybe you were searching for something deeper, something to hold on to during a season of uncertainty. Whatever brought you here, I believe there is a reason these words have found you today. Life often leaves us with questions that feel too heavy to carry alone. You may look composed in public, speak with confidence, and fulfill your daily responsibilities, yet still feel a quiet ache when the world grows silent. That ache is not a weakness. It is part of being human. In fact, it may be the very place where transformation begins, because pain and longing often open doors that comfort never could. In this episode, we are going to talk about what it means to trust that God has a plan for you, even when life feels unpredictable. Together, we will explore how silence, disappointment, and waiting are not signs of being forgotten, but invitations to grow in ways you cannot yet see. My hope is that by the end of our time together, you will not only feel encouraged, but also more connected to the possibility that your story still holds chapters worth waiting for. Part 1. The pain you never spoke about. There are moments in life when you carry pain so quietly that no one around you can see it. You wake up, go to work, smile at friends, and carry on with your routine, but deep inside there is a part of you that feels heavy. Sometimes it feels easier to pretend that everything is fine than to admit the weight you are holding. Yet pretending does not take the pain away. It only teaches you to hide it better. This hidden pain often speaks loudest at night when the world becomes quiet. In those still hours, the distractions disappear, and the thoughts you tried to silence come rushing back. The laughter and conversations of the day fade, and you are left with emotions you never gave yourself permission to feel. This is the part of your story that rarely reaches the surface, but it is the part that shapes you the most. You may have wondered why you had to go through it at all. Why did certain friendships end so suddenly? Why did opportunities vanish just as you thought they were within reach? These unanswered questions can leave a person feeling overlooked or abandoned. But what you must understand is that pain itself is not meaningless. It often carries lessons that can only be revealed with time. Carrying unspoken pain is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it shows the strength it takes to endure when no one else notices. It demonstrates that you are capable of walking through storms quietly, even when your heart feels like breaking. The challenge is not only surviving that season, but also learning how to honor what you have endured. Acknowledging the reality of your pain is the first step toward transforming it into growth. And here is the hope. The pain you never spoke about has never been ignored by God. Even when no one else saw your tears or understood your silence, He was present. He has been using those hidden struggles to prepare you for something greater, shaping you in ways you could not recognize at the time. The weight you carried in secret has not been wasted. It has been part of a process that is still unfolding in your life. Part 2. Why nothing worked. There are seasons when it feels like no matter how much effort you give, nothing seems to move forward. You try every path available, invest your energy and hope for change, yet doors keep closing one after another. In those moments, frustration builds and you begin to question your worth or your decisions. It is a painful place to be because it feels like all your efforts have been wasted. But sometimes what looks like failure is actually divine protection. The opportunities you lost were not meant to carry you where you needed to go. Had those doors remained open, they might have led to situations that would drain you, distract you, or even harm you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Closed doors are not punishments. They are shields keeping you from battles that were never yours to fight. Think about the times when you longed for something so deeply, only to discover later that it would not have served you well. At the time, the disappointment felt unbearable, but with distance, you can often see the hidden grace behind it. Life rarely gives explanations in the moment. It only reveals them in hindsight. What once felt like rejection often reveals itself as redirection. It is natural to ask, why didn't this work when I gave it my all? But remember, effort alone cannot force what is not aligned with your path. The truth is, there are seasons designed not to reward your effort, but to shape your perspective. They teach you patience, resilience, and the humility to realize that you are not the one in full control. These lessons are just as valuable as any achievement. So if you are in a place where nothing seems to work, do not assume you have failed. Instead, consider that you may have been spared from something you were never meant to carry. What feels like delay could be preparation, and what feels like loss could be setting the stage for something more fitting to who you are becoming. Trust that the unanswered prayers and unfulfilled plans are part of a larger design you cannot yet see. Part 3. The Invisible Plan. One of the hardest parts of life is learning to trust in what you cannot see. We are conditioned to measure progress by visible results, finished projects, clear milestones, tangible rewards. Yet the most important parts of growth often happen in silence, beneath the surface, far from anyone's attention. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Think of how a seed grows. For weeks it remains hidden under the soil, showing no sign of life. Yet, during that time, its roots are spreading, anchoring deeply, and building the strength it will need to rise above the ground. If you judge the seed too soon, you might assume it had failed. But in truth, the invisible work is what prepares it to stand tall later. Your life works in the same way. The seasons of stillness and silence are not wasted. They are where your foundations are being formed. The lessons you learn, the patience you build, and the resilience you practice are all part of a design you may not yet understand. What feels like delay is often a period of preparation, equipping you for responsibilities and opportunities that require a stronger version of you. It takes faith to accept that progress is not always visible. Faith is the quiet confidence that something is happening even when evidence is absent. This is not blind hope. It is trust that your story is guided by a plan greater than your immediate vision. Choosing to believe in that plan brings peace, even when answers are slow to appear. So when you feel stuck, remember the seed. Remember that silence is not the same as absence, and stillness is not the same as failure. Your unseen efforts and your hidden seasons are building something real, even if you cannot yet measure it. The invisible plan is still unfolding, and when the right time arrives, what has been growing in secret will finally be revealed. Part 4. When life breaks you, it shapes you. There are moments when life feels as though it has broken you into pieces. Dreams collapse, relationships end, and plans you once trusted suddenly fall apart. In those times, the weight of loss can be overwhelming, leaving you unsure of how to move forward. Yet hidden within that breaking is the possibility of being reshaped into someone stronger, deeper, and more resilient. Consider how nature reveals this truth. A diamond is formed only under intense pressure, and gold is refined only through fire. Without those difficult processes, their beauty and strength would never be seen. In the same way, your hardships do not erase your worth, they reveal it. The breaking strips away what cannot last and makes room for something more enduring to emerge. Brokenness also has a way of softening the heart. It teaches compassion, reminding you that everyone carries unseen struggles. It humbles you, showing that you cannot always rely on control or certainty. Most importantly, it opens the door to transformation by making you aware of your own need for grace and renewal. What feels like the end can become the beginning of a new way of living. It is natural to resist these painful seasons, to wish them away, or to ask why they had to happen at all. But over time, many people look back and see that their deepest growth came through the very moments they once feared. The breaking was not meant to destroy them, but to rebuild them with stronger foundations. The person who emerges after the storm is not the same as the one who entered it. So if you feel broken right now, remember this: your story is not over. The cracks you see are not signs of ruin, but signs of renewal. Just as pottery can be mended with gold in the Japanese art of kintsugi, your life can be reshaped into something even more meaningful after the break. What once felt like loss may become the very source of your strength and beauty. Part 5. The Power of Silence. Silence can feel uncomfortable, even heavy, in a world that constantly demands noise and activity. When you don't hear answers, when your prayers seem to echo back without response, it is easy to believe that silence means abandonment. Yet silence is often the very space where the most profound work takes place. It is in the quiet moments that growth, healing, and transformation unfold unseen. Consider how seeds break open underground without anyone noticing. Their greatest change happens in silence, far away from the eyes of the world. In the same way, much of your development occurs when life feels still. Silence is not a void. It is a sacred space where your roots deepen and your spirit is reshaped for what is ahead. The challenge is that silence forces us to face ourselves. Without the distractions of constant noise, we begin to hear the thoughts and emotions we often ignore. It can feel uncomfortable, but it is also a gift. Silence teaches patience, encourages reflection, and reminds us that not everything valuable arrives with speed or spectacle. In spiritual terms, silence is often where God does his most intimate work. He refines your character, strengthens your endurance, and reminds you that his presence is not measured by constant activity. When you feel nothing is happening, it may be the very season when the deepest changes are taking root. Silence is not absence, it is preparation. So, the next time you enter a season of quiet, resist the urge to see it as empty or wasted. Instead, treat it as an invitation to slow down, breathe, and trust that unseen things are still unfolding on your behalf. Silence has a power of its own, and when embraced, it can transform the way you see yourself and your journey. What feels like stillness today may become the foundation of tomorrow's breakthrough. Final thoughts. Life is rarely a straight path. It is filled with unexpected turns, quiet seasons, and moments that leave us questioning our purpose. Yet when we look back, we often realize that even the most difficult chapters were part of a larger design. What felt like delay, silence, or loss was shaping us into someone stronger and more prepared. The pain you carried, the closed doors you faced, and the silence you endured were not wasted. Each one of them held a purpose, even when you could not see it in the moment. They were chapters of growth, not full stops. What seemed like the end was often the beginning of something greater. Trusting in God's plan does not mean life will be free of challenges. It means believing that every challenge has meaning, even when you do not yet understand it. This perspective brings peace because you no longer measure your worth by immediate results. Instead, you learn to rest in the assurance that your story is still unfolding with intention. If you take one truth with you today, let it be this: you are not forgotten. Every tear has been seen, every silence has been heard, and every waiting season has been shaping you. The chapters ahead may hold answers to questions you once thought would never be resolved. Hold on, because your journey is not over, it is still being written. So as you step forward, carry this reminder. God's timing may not match your own, but His plan has always included you. The unseen work within you is preparing you for what is yet to come. Let this truth give you the courage to keep moving, even when the road feels uncertain. The story is not finished, and neither are you. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which part of today's message resonated with you the most? Was it the reminder about silence, the idea of closed doors being protection, or the thought that your pain still carries meaning? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your words may not only bring clarity to your own journey, but also encourage someone else who is walking through a difficult season. Often what feels personal to you can become a source of strength for another person. I read every comment with care, and I truly believe your perspective matters. Don't keep your story hidden. Let it be part of a conversation that helps others see that they are not alone. Sometimes the very thing you share could be the answer someone else has been praying for. So, take a moment after this episode to write your thoughts. Whether it is a single sentence or a longer reflection, let your voice be heard. Your contribution could turn this podcast into a space of shared hope and encouragement. And remember, your journey is still unfolding. You never know how your experience might touch another life. Start by sharing in the comments, and let's build a community of voices that remind one another. We are all part of a greater plan.